Good evening and welcome to Views with Joyce Waddell. I want to thank you for joining us this evening. We have a very interesting program for you. We're going to be talking with Harold Lowe. He's a senior at Philip O'Berry High School. And also we're going to be talking with the founder of the program, Mr. John Martin. He's the CEO and founder of YBM Leadership Alliance. So our program tonight will be focusing on those excellent things that young black men are doing and how they are making a difference in spite of many of the things that we hear, many of the things that we see, and many of the things that we see people do. We have 100 young men. They're doing great things. They're achieving, they're going to college, they're choosing wonderful careers, giving back to this society and making this whole society a better place in which to live. So welcome, Mr. Harold Lowe.
Thank you. How you doing?
And welcome, Mr. John.
Thank you.
Martin.
Thanks for having us.
Our topic for tonight is YBM Leadership Alliance. And what is that, Mr. Martin?
So we're a leadership organization. Our primary focus is to develop the next generation of leaders who are going to have a positive impact on our community. So we really focus on identifying young men who are really targeted towards leadership, who can have an impact, and that's our focus areas.
Was there any particular, you're the founder and CEO, was there a particular reason that you put this organization in place?
Yeah, so for me, when I was growing up, my father moved around a lot, so I moved from Miami, Florida to Woodbridge, Virginia, so two very contrasting school systems. When I moved, the school system put me in classes that didn't challenge me. I kind of floundered through high school, but I had a coach that really looked after me. I had some peers that moved into the community and really started talking about college.
You were an athlete then?
I was an athlete, but I was also not a scholar at the time. So when my peers came in, they were scholars, and they started talking about college. And then I started to talk about college because I was getting letters from schools. And from that, I learned a couple of very valuable lessons. You know, one was really, you know, there's an adult in your life who can make a tremendous impact. And that was one of the things that this program really focuses on, really finding and identifying positive, successful males who can make an impact on our young men. But also peers, as we talked about earlier. Peers they have a tremendous pull on young men. So what I was finding with young black men who were doing well, there's not a peer group for them. So what we wanted to do is create a peer group of young men who were making an impact on our community and were doing well in school. So those are kind of the basis of the organization.
And Mr. Harold Lowe, you've had a wonderful experience, haven't you?
Yes, ma'am. I came into the organization as a part of the Top 100, which is where they take the top 100 juniors in the Charlotte area, and they bring us together so that we can mingle with other students who are doing the same things that we're doing, and then they take their top 10%, and you have the ambassador program, which is where I'm in now. And in that ambassador program is where we actually get the key training that we need in order to be successful outside of college.
So all the seniors in the ambassador program?
Yes, ma'am.
Mm-hmm. Now, is this program what you thought it would be?
It's actually more than I thought it would be. I came in expecting, just to go to classroom sessions on public speaking and networking, but I've been introduced to executives. I've had the opportunity to sit on board meetings. I've met people that I never dreamed of meeting, and through all of it, I've turned into a different person.
Yeah, even had the opportunity to go to Haiti. Yeah, so we
what
actually.
Did you find when you went to Haiti?
Going to Haiti, I just realized that there's a whole nother world than what we see in America. You see things on TV, read things in books about Haiti, but you can never fully understand what they're going to until you set foot on the island.
What are some of your most impressive events that you participated in?
This past February, I actually held my own event with the former Mayor Harvey Gantt. In light of
it was your own that you designed, and you put everything together yourself?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay.
In light of the events that were happening prior to the event with Michael Brown, Trayvon Martin, I felt that America was looking for an answer. However, they didn't exactly know where to look. Everybody, they wanted to do the riots or they wanted to protest. However, I felt that the only way to truly make a change in your society was to participate in local elections, as far as governors, senators, mayors, and things of that nature. So I had Harvey Gantt come speak to about, well, we had about 200.
Mm-hmm.
We had
Pat
two,
Smith.
we had 200 attendees at Johnson C. Smith. Come listen to Harvey Gantt speak on the importance of voting in local elections and how that voting can affect the changes in your local community.
And Harold's being humble about this. So, one of the things that was really impressive was, again, this wasn't something that we prompted him to do. He was actually at an event with Mayor Gantt and went up to him and made an introduction and actually followed up with him and asked him to participate in the session, the evening with Harvey Gantt. And he came back to me and said, "Hey, Mr. Martin, I already talked to Mayor Gantt and got this set up. Would you be interested in participating?" So that's the type of leadership skills that we want to develop in our young men. And the great thing is they have it in them. It's just a matter of identifying the young men who are ready to make that come out, and then provide the skills for them and provide the connections for them, and then actually get them out in the community and let them do the work.
Audience, we'll continue to talk with our two guests tonight. Mr. John Martin, the CEO of Young Black Men,
Mm-hmm.
and also a participant who's making a difference, Mr. Harold Lowe, who's a participant, and he's attending Philip O'Berry and will be going to North Carolina A&T in the fall. So our topic for tonight is the 100 Black Men, Young Black Men Alliance. So that's what we're focusing on. The great work that they're doing in this community and how they are impacting the lives of young people. So Mr. Harold, what is your dream job as a result, and how has this program had an influence on it?
So I plan to go to North Carolina A&T to get my bachelor's in mechanical engineering, and then hopefully to Virginia Tech University to get my PhD in engineering. I plan to take whatever money that I get from engineering and be able to fuel a nonprofit, maybe other than YBM, or put it right back into YBM, who's helped me extremely. My dream is to take over the Young Black Man Leadership Alliance and be able to do the things that Mr. Martin is already doing.
That's interesting. And another interesting thing, as I have researched and viewed organizations such as this putting together things to help young people, it's very difficult for them to stay no more than 5 years.
Yeah.
They turn into something else,
Yeah.
or the people get tired and they start doing something else.
Yeah.
They feel like they've reached the goal that they set out. So what is it about this that you've endured for 9 years?
Well, first of all, it's a mission for me, right? So it's something that I'm extremely passionate.
That's 9 years, isn't it? You've been with it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Something I'm extremely passionate about. Something that God has blessed me with a certain set of skills and experiences that allows me to do this and do it well. And then to be able to watch a young man like Harold grow, and Harold has literally come a long way, and it's almost like watching a small infant learn. It's the same exact experience that you get, and the different things that he does and the other young men in the program do, that's what fuels it, and being able to see them achieve. We have one of our young men who got a 3.9 at NC State this year. And
what was he majoring in?
Engineering, the toughest major of all, right? So, just doing that type of work. We have young men who are creating a mentoring program, doing international work. So being able to come alongside of them, they actually fuel the organization. And for Harold to talk about, wanting to start his own nonprofit or potentially take over YBM, those are the things that, when you talk about longevity, that's how you create longevity in a program.
As you think about this and as you think about the great work that you're doing, and if you have so many programs focusing on helping young black men, do you ever envision the time when we will not have the problems that we tend to have now that focus on young black men?
Yeah, I do envision that, and the reason why, the reason why we have the structure that we have for our organization is to solve the longer term problem. So if you look at a lot of organizations, they really focus on being reactive. So they'll look at a young man and they say, okay, he's a problem, so let's try to fix this specific problem. So with our strategy, what we're doing is we're building leaders, and we also build those leaders to replicate themselves. So the number one thing a leader can do is lead. The number two thing that a leader can do is think about succession planning. So for us, if Harold's going to take my job, then his job is to make sure he brings up someone to take his job. And as we continue to build the organization and build leaders around the community, within 10 years from now, we'll have 100 to 200 young black men who are leaders who have gone through our program, who are focused on leadership, but also focused on giving back to the community. And that's going to have a major impact on the economic impact on society, not only here in Charlotte, but worldwide.
And so your basic source of existence of your fund is through fundraising and contributions.
Yeah.
You don't get federal dollars. You don't get state dollars.
We don't get federal or state dollars.
Have you ever sought those?
We have sought those. Just like we were talking before, most federal and state dollars and even grant organizations focus on at-risk students, and very few focus on young black men in leadership programs. So if you think about it, most people, when they think about young black men, it's not very diverse in terms of their thought process. So what we continue to do as an organization is to try to get people thinking and talking about, can we create leadership dollars for young men who are doing well, who are achieving? These young men have proved that they have what it takes to be successful. They've also proved that they're going to continue to be successful. Now it's our job to make sure we lift them up to be the best that they could be.
This is for Harold. What happens with the other people who are some of your peers who don't get into programs such as this? They're doing something. You have 100 here, but you must have 500 somewhere else.
It's actually funny. When we sit at the lunch table, anytime I go through a lot of meetings with YBM, so sometimes I have to wear a suit to school. So at the beginning, it started off, why are you wearing suits to school? And once people started listening to, my explanations, then they actually started coming to me asking for, advice and guidance on the things that I was already doing. I have a friend, he calls me presidential. So anytime he has a question about anything business-wise or anything outside of school, he'll always come to me for a quick second. He'll ask me a quick question, or he'll bring other people around and he'll ask me to give a brief synopsis of the things that I'm doing. So basically, I'm in a leadership role with YBM as well as a leadership role at my school.
Are you, do you hold an office in the school, student council, president or something like that?
No, ma'am. I actually spent most of my time in school on the debate team, which helped me with my public speaking, and also it helped me get over some of the butterflies you get from having to speak in front of large groups. Other than the debate team, I play sports, so sometimes it was hard to make student council meetings. So I decided I would rather not give 50% of my time to student council, but give 100% of my time to bettering myself and the school outside of that.
What sport do you play?
I played football and I ran track at Philip O'Berry.
Okay. Y'all had a good team this year, didn't you? A good
Yes,
football
ma'am.
team. What is your position on the football team?
So I started out at defensive back, and I moved to more of a nickelback position to help the team where we needed to see fit.
When you go to North Carolina A&T, do you intend to play sports and be on the football team there?
My first semester, I don't plan to do much of anything other than volunteering within the school. I want to make sure that I can keep my grades up. Hopefully I can come out with a 4.0 out of my first semester. And then after I see what my workload looks like and what type of free time I have, then I expect to walk on to the football team.
You want to walk on?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, that's great. Now, for your leader, you've done great work with these students.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
And they're doing great things. What would it be like if you had a program like the Harlem Renaissance program,
Mm-hmm.
or if you took parts of that which is a different kind of candidate,
Yeah.
and put it with the one that you have, so that achievers could
Yeah.
help the non-achievers, those that are struggling. Have you ever thought about doing something like that?
Yeah. So the
I know, because we've just mentioned that many times state dollars
Sure.
and federal dollars
Mhm.
follow the low achievers or those
Yeah.
who are struggling.
Yeah, so one of the things that we do in the program is we ask our leaders to actually give back to the community. So part of that giving back is we have a mentoring program where we mentor third grade students. And our young men who are achievers go back and mentor third grade students who are struggling. So again, what we're building there, one, is leadership for our young men, and then also the desire to go back and work in the community and help the community, but also we're inspiring young students who are struggling. So we actually have that aspect in our program, and that's one of the things that makes our program unique. We're actually taking the talent that most people don't think about. These young men are extremely talented, so why not use them in our community? And when you have someone like Harold or someone that's one of his peers, and they go back and talk to a third grader, that they give them a feeling of, a big brother. So that really is a much better model than having me, an older gentleman, going back and talking to a third grader. So our model is actually built around giving back to the community and then working with students who are struggling. So we just take the best and have them work with the students who are struggling.
Well, what about the ones in 10th grade or 9th grade who are struggling
Yeah.
and who would aspire, when they see what these young men are doing, to be a part of this?
So I don't mean to cut you
Go
off. So one of the biggest misconceptions of the organization is that all of us come into the organization with a 4.0 GPA. And that's-
Already, everybody comes
Yeah.
in.
And that's not how it is.
Right.
So to get into the organization, you have to have a 3.0 weighted GPA. So that leaves room for students to come in with 2.5s, unweighted, or even lower than that. And the organization, it doesn't just take those who are super excelling in school. It also takes those who are borderline. The organization, it really wants to take the students that have a dream to excel rather than the ones who are already doing it. Because if you take a group of students who already have 4.0s, where do we have to grow? The organization is built on the growth of students, not only in the classroom, but outside of the classroom. So we do have students in the organization who are sitting on 2.5, 2.6s, but when they came in, they may have had that 2.5, 2.6, but now they've taken their aspirations on being successful outside of school, and we've put that into the schoolwork. So now students are coming in getting 3.7s on the last semester or their senior year. So the organization, it doesn't focus on just the scholars that are excelling now. It focuses on those scholars who don't have the benefit of the doubt from their teachers or maybe their parents. YBM is their benefit of the doubt, so they help them another ambassador, he said a quote a while ago, YBM helps put the pencil on the paper.
Okay.
Oftentimes students, high achievers, such as yourself, they have so many other things that they participate in. They have scouts, they have sports, they have church activities, they usher, different things like that. So they have so many other things that are pulling them in different directions. So how do you juggle your time, and what place do you put this in YBM as it relates to the other things that are pulling for your time?
There's 24 hours in a day. So I always felt that there's plenty of time to get everything done. So I sleep for about 6-7 hours, and I go to school for 8 hours. So after 2 o'clock to around 10 o'clock, I have that big window to fill my time with. So I just make sure that I put everything on my calendar so that when I do get new events or new meetings that come up, I'll have the opportunity to see what I have to do and see where it fits in. I think the biggest problem with people as far as scheduling their time is they don't know how to say no. In order to be successful, you have to be able to tell everyone if you don't have time for their event, or if you don't have time to do what they'd like for you to do. So I think my biggest strength is being able to say no, and then being able to make sure that I stay focused on what I have to do.
I've worked in several programs with young men, and many people say they'd rather work with the young men rather than the males than the females. And to help them to grow and see the directions.
Yeah.
But oftentimes there's been quite a bit of fallout. You start off with 100,
Mhm.
and then as the year goes on, you look around,
Yeah.
you have 50.
Mhm. Mhm.
So how do you maintain your their interest in
Yeah.
what's going on, and
Yeah.
keep them so that you don't have a big fallout rate?
Yeah. A couple of things in there. So as you mentioned, the young men who are doing well, who are ascribing to do well, they're generally busy, right?
Yeah,
And there
they're
are
busy.
tons of programs. And as a program director, you have to recognize that. You have to understand that. You got to understand the groups that you're dealing with. So for us, we recognize pretty early on that our young men are going to be extremely busy. So what we try to do is work on days that they won't necessarily be busy on. So we may actually have an event on Sundays. Most people actually, if it's if they play sports, during the week is out, right? Unless you go in later in the evening. And then a lot of sports happen on Saturdays. But most people actually come back on Sundays. So we've been able to understand our audience and take advantage of that. The other thing that we do is for our Top 100 program, we've actually compressed the program to make it high impact, but not long in duration. So that'll actually keep our young men engaged, and then we have events that are engaging for them. The last thing they want to do is sit down for another 8 hours in the classroom, right? And leadership is something that you can learn by doing. So as Harold talked about the event that he worked on, that's a leadership experience for him. He had to take that event from start to end. He had to work with his team in order to build that event. So those are the types of things that keep people engaged. And when you give a young man something that challenges his mind, he'll stay engaged.
We're going to take a short break right there.
Okay.
And then we're going to come back.
Sure.
And then when we come back, we're going to look at the upcoming events that you have here.
Okay.
And we're going to talk about what these events are designed to do.
Okay.
Artists, we'll continue to talk with John Martin, CEO and founder of Young Black Men, 100 Black Men Leadership Alliance. Also talking with Harold Lowe. He's a senior at Philip O'Berry High School. He will be attending North Carolina A&T, and he will be majoring in mechanical engineering. So they're sharing the experiences of the Young Black Men Alliance and the wonderful things that they're doing in this city. But they have some interesting events that they do every year. They do not get federal dollars. They do not get state dollars. But they do fundraising, and people do come up and help with the things that they put together. They have a National Scholar Day, and that's coming up too, May the 31st. What are you going to be doing at a National Scholar Day?
So I'll take this one because this is Harold's first opportunity for this one. So National Scholar Day was actually designed after the same concept of National Signing Day. So
National what?
Signing Day.
Okay,
So National
when athletes
right.
signed up
Exactly.
To determine which college they want to go to.
Exactly. So what we were finding is that young black males generally get recognized for sports, but they don't get recognized for scholar. So what we wanted to do was have the same kind of concept, where we had our young men who are going off to college to be able to go and have an opportunity to present the schools that they're going to, the scholarships that they're going to, and then just like on National Signing Day, they would put on their hats of the schools that they're going to. So Harold's going to A&T, so he'll be there representing with his A&T hat, and then he'll talk about the school that he's going to. So the whole idea was really to recognize them for the great work that they're doing in academics as opposed to just sports.
So each one of them will have the hat of
Yep.
the school.
Each one of them.
100 different hats.
Well, it depends on the number of young men who come. Yeah, so last year we
Are
had
there
about
more
25.
going to A&T?
Yes, ma'am. We have, I want to say we have about 3 or 4 ambassadors that are going, and that doesn't even include the number of members from the top 100 going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So 2 years ago, we actually sent 20 students from the top 100 into A&T.
Okay.
Yeah, so we have a pretty large group. For us, the schools that our young men generally go to, A&T is a big one, North Carolina State, UNC.
UNC here in Charlotte.
UNC and then UNCC. So,
Okay.
those are the ones.
Chapel Hill, UNC Chapel Hill.
Yes, ma'am.
Carolina.
Carolina, that's
Okay.
right. Yep, yes, ma'am. So those are the ones. But Scholar Day is really around highlighting the great work that they've done, giving them an opportunity to showcase in front of the community. So what we want to do is really recognize those young men and
Now,
really
when they
lift
go-
them up.
When they go to Scholar Day,
Mhm.
is that at their own particular schools that y'all come in one place?
We come in one place. So this year, Scholar Day is on May 31st. It's at the University Hilton Hotel. So we've actually rented out a ballroom in the hotel. We'll have the young men there. We'll have their parents there. We'll have the community there. And we have speakers. Actually, Senator Joe Ford is our keynote speaker for the event.
He's a part of the 100 Black Men, isn't he?
He is, yeah. So again, we'll have really just a community there recognizing our young men and having that opportunity to for them to shine. And they don't get that opportunity to shine in terms of academics as often.
What is your opinion? How would you describe the things that are going on that you have heard and seen with young Black men? I'm talking about the dismal state that tend to be uplifted by the media.
All the events that are happening, I think they're just a product of students not understanding the full legal system. So for example, what happened in Baltimore, they started rioting because a young Black man was killed and they felt that there was nothing being done about it. And they decided to riot because everyone feels that a riot and a protest is the quickest way to get your message out or to be heard. However, I feel that the only way for a riot or a protest to be effective is if you have some type of law or legislative backing to your situation. So I think that the society as a whole, we have good ideas. We just don't always come together to be able to put those ideas in the full effect to have the biggest possible outcome.
And let's bring it a little bit closer to home and to the people, to Charlotte and the people
Sure.
that you know,
Yeah.
and the ones that we tend to deal with here, and even your peers. We got to wrap it up.